says we don't need it.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Welcome, everybody. Once again, we're going to keep an orderly meeting and allow the board to do its functions. We have a time set aside for public comment, not a time for questions. We'll take comments to the board, and there is a time set aside for it in the agenda. And we appreciate everybody maintaining some civility and some discipline. Order?
Klein,
Here.
supervisor,
Here.
clerk's here, treasurer.
Here.
Here. Okay, I move we approve the agenda.
I second that.
Okay, motion and a second to approve the agenda.
There's things on the agenda that can't actually even happen.
Correct. Yeah, we need to make some adjustments to it. I'd like to scratch appointments to Planning Commission. Scratch the contaminated area and just hopefully you can give a report on it, that it was on here during your board reports.
How are you gonna appoint to the airport board when we haven't filled Nancy's position?
We're just gonna,
Reappoint.
Well, what I'm saying is, when it's an incoming
Citizens at large.
it's a renewal.
renewal,
Yeah.
so it's not filling her vacancy on the airport
No.
board then?
Get it adjusted the way you want it.
Other than a budget adjustment prior to accounts payable.
What would that adjustment be
I'll
for?
accept
For
all
the,
those,
for the water,
I'll accept those amendments,
for the water billing.
and so will Mary. He's gonna speak up. Yeah, I can, Phil.
Motion and a second to adopt the agenda with those adjustments. Did you have any more there?
No.
Okay. All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Agenda adopted. Okay, fine. Treasurer's report.
In the general fund, there is $218,505.79, with the money market being $49,019 and a penny, and the CD being $336,226.78. That CD comes up for renewal in November, on that one. In the water fund, there is, in the money market, $35,162.42 with a balance of $61,747.19. In the road fund, the money market is $196,649.06, and with a balance of $257,928.92. And in the tax fund is $775,952.52.
Do we need a motion to accept and file, or do it?
Yes, please.
Okay, I'll move that we accept that
Treasurer's report.
financial report and file it.
I'll second.
Okay, motion and second to receive and file the treasurer's report. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Okay, motion to approve minutes. You had a little bit of time.
Should we do them one at a time, or all
It's
three?
up to you. Whoever wants to make the motion.
Okay, I'll move that we approve the minutes for September 16th, October 2nd, and October 7th.
1 second. Second.
Okay, motion and a second to approve all three sets of minutes for all three dates. Is there any discussion on the minutes? Hearing no discussion, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, motion passed. Minutes accepted. Oops. There it is. Okay, budget, I'm sorry, the agenda change. I'll make a motion to add $25,000 as a budget adjustment to line item 591, 536, 967, which is wellhead project costs, and that's to cover the expenses of the repairs at the wellhead that were
And to pay all,
unanticipated.
and to pay all the rest of them too, or you're gonna include them all, or we're gonna do another motion to pass everything?
Just the budget adjustment.
Okay, budget adjustment.
Where's that money coming from?
From the
Water fund.
water fund. It's
It's
just that
going
we
to
did
where?
not budget it.
Going to where?
Project, wellhead project cost line item.
Okay,
In the
so,
budget, it's just. needs
so
to
it'll
go
come
down.
out of the water fund then?
Correct.
Okay.
It just wasn't budgeted for. We didn't anticipate that when we created the budget. So we're just adding it so that we can pay the bill.
Somebody second that?
How much was the bill?
26 something altogether. But we had some allocated in there
Right.
for project allocation. So 25 will be enough to cover it. Just need support for that motion.
Okay, I'll support it.
Okay, motion and a second to add $25,000 to line item 591, 536, 967, wellhead project costs in the water fund.
Okay, this is a roll call. Klein,
Yes.
supervisor,
Yes.
clerk, yes, treasurer,
Yes.
and the wellhead is finished. Good. That makes me smile.
The motion passed. Now, to pay the bills. That's where that was added.
Yeah.
Correct. And you had that total now, so
Yeah, I
that's,
have it.
that's on you. Because I didn't add it in.
Well, I might as well make a motion to pay the bills then.
Need an amount.
Yeah.
You got yours?
And that includes the 25,000.
Correct.
Okay, and the amount of $83,573.74, which includes the wellhead and the kayak launch, which are two real biggies, amount to $60,000 about, between those two things.
I'll support it.
Okay.
On 9/17, paid Bradley Nickel. What was that for?
Where?
He's an attorney. Fourth one
Oh, yeah,
down.
that was for, we had to have an attorney for an ordinance violation. Don Bolzer wouldn't let Don go before him without an attorney. He had to, he could go for the pretrial, so to speak, but then if it was gonna go to trial, then we had to have an attorney.
We don't have that to our normal legal for the township.
Well, see, he would've had to come over from Bel Air,
Okay.
so it would've cost us, I think, significantly more money.
And
Okay,
there is a
we-
line item for legal and blight.
Okay, Klein,
Yes.
Treasurer,
Yeah.
clerk, yes, supervisor,
Yes.
okay.
Motion passed, pay the bills. Okay. New business. August and September park reports.
August and September have been pretty quiet. We've had several rentals. We had a community potluck dinner. That was a pretty big success. A lot of people showed up for that one, a lot more than I anticipated. The park's in good shape. We just painted the floors in the pavilion, and that was closed for a week to let the epoxy dry. Eric said it was okay to open it for the weekend. There was a community bonfire this past weekend. That's why we wanted it back open. The bonfire was a big success. I didn't get an exact head count. A rough estimate was 25 to 35 people there. It started at 6. It kind of dismissed at like 10, 11, something like that. UFW provided the cocoa, cider, and coffee. Everything went fairly well. There was nothing negative was said. It was all smiles and positives, so that was nice to see that. Other than that, that's pretty much it. The rec area is ready for the trails for skiing. That's all been done. The ski hill has been mowed. I mowed that, chopped all the weeds down. The picnic area is ready for this upcoming hayride we've got. Not a whole lot's there's been very little vandalism down at the pavilion. There is a need for a light at the Maisy building. I told Eric about that last month. On the corner of the building, there's a light out.
Exterior?
Yes. I'm assuming that some kid threw a basketball at it and broke it. It's not caged. We need to get that fixed because a couple people have tripped at night because they are using the Maisy building at night. And I told Eric about it. He said he was going to get it as soon as he can. I don't know if he hasn't had time or something, but we should probably look at that yet this week if we can. I've got a gate that I'm going to hang at the rec area drive. I set the poles. Someone decided that it was more important to disturb the poles than not leave them alone. I set them in cement. Someone went up there and moved them. I reset them. This is the second time I reset them. I'm going to hang the gate tomorrow, as long as it got set up, the cement. And I'm going to hang that gate tomorrow. There's been a lot of activity with quads and four-wheelers going back there, side-by-sides and whatnot. And then no one's really damaging anything. They're just going back there to see what it is. So, and it's happening at night. So the sooner we get a gate up, the better. And I spoke with Eric, and when I take my kids to school in the morning at 7, I'm going to open it, and then in the evening, close it. We both got keys for this locking gate.
Does the rec area have hours, do you know? Do we?
No, I don't think it actually has operating hours, but there's probably no need to be back there for sundown. You know, I don't see any,
Okay.
other than, no.
I didn't know if people were camping up there.
No, I haven't really noticed that, ever. The only, I have noticed a few transactions going on out there at night.
Okay, I'll move we accept Jay's reports.
Second.
A motion and a second to accept the, do you have anything in writing?
In writing?
Yeah,
As far as this park report?
a report, yeah,
Yeah, I've got something jotted down here.
okay.
I don't
Yeah,
know
so
if
we
you
can
can
put it in
decipher it or not,
minutes
but-
and,
Well, we should already be filing those, right?
right,
Yeah.
all right.
Thank you for your work too at the
Sure.
bonfire.
Sure.
In case people don't know, the only reason we had a burn ring was because of our park attendant. He made that happen, and the idea between the potluck and the bonfire and whatever we figure out next is try and kill some of the dissension here. There's no reason everybody has to keep hating each other. And we've been having a lot of fun with this stuff, so if you haven't been to one of these events, they're always in the paper or on Facebook, definitely come out. Just, it's surprising you can meet somebody that's been here for 20 years and you never knew them just because they were afraid to come out of the shadows. Thank you.
Sure, thank you.
That was just a report. We don't have anything to move on.
Well, we made a motion
Okay.
and a second to
All in favor?
accept it.
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Pick a day to winterize the park. Is there a motion?
Well, Mary wants to leave it open for trick or treaters, so that'd be October 31st, so I suppose right after that would be good. November 1st or November 4th is a Monday, something like that. Whatever you folks think is a good day.
You can close it November 1st.
November 1st, okay.
It's hard to say, we got Indian summer, so.
Okay. Is there support for that?
I will.
Okay. Motion and a second to winterize the pavilion on November 1st or thereafter.
No chance we can wait for snow to fly? I mean, there's people still using the park. You know, I'd wait for the last second if anything else.
It's been pretty busy.
That's why I'm saying, I'd hate to see somebody not have an opportunity to use it if we still have time.
Well, the weather forecast is for frost starting Thursday almost every night. And that place has no insulation. And so anytime we go past the first frost, we're starting to take a chance. Now, we're gonna have frost between now and November 1st for sure. But I don't think they'll probably be cold enough to really bother us. But when you say wait for snow, I think it's better to wait for frost, because we sure don't want anything to freeze up.
We've left it open in the past, so in the winter.
What?
We've left it open in the past in the winter. We had ice skating in there in January. And it's got a furnace, so, I mean, if you keep the heat at a minimum,
What does?
it has a furnace in there, forced air furnace, so,
Yeah, I know.
you know.
But Eric, I'm basically parroting what Eric told me. So, I don't, you know, whatever anybody wants to do, that's,
They're the ones that have to haul the dock and stuff and put in there, and that's up to them.
What do they have to put in there?
They put that aluminum dock and stuff in there.
Well, yeah, but we have an empty pole barn at the wellhead. I mean, if we had to, we'd still have storage capabilities.
But that's up to them, whatever. You need to talk to the guys, they know more about that than I do.
when do you want to close it?
And again, November 1st, but leave it up to the guys, because we get Indian summer all the time in November, so.
November 1st, unless the fellas want it to stay open later.
Whatever their choice.
Okay. Okay, I'll second that,
Any more discussion?
unless they might, I don't know, they might want to leave it open until the snow drift, you know, I don't know if they will or not, but we'll leave it at that. And I'll
Yes,
second that.
Okay. All in favor?
Can you read the motion?
Yeah, Mary's motion is that we can close the pavilion on November 1st unless the fellas say that they want it to stay open longer. Like if they say they want it open until the snow drift, then we'll leave it. If they say that's when we should close it, we'll close it. They always have closed it in the past on October 15th. So this is 15 days longer than their history is. But it's, but I think Mary has it right that we should kind of leave that up to them and we close it on November 1st if that meets with their approval.
I know they have the drinking fountain and things like that they have to make sure don't freeze.
Yeah.
I think that's already been done.
Hmm?
There's a black bag over the drinking fountain, they've already done that.
They won't
They've
shut
already
it
done
off?
Yeah.
Okay. So they know what they're doing. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
I'm opposed. I think we should keep it open as long as the weather will let us do it. If we give them the option to close it sooner than that, I think it'll get closed.
Okay.
I'm going to say motion passed. We've got to have some direction. So, appoint zoning administrator and blight enforcement officer. Prior to that, I know it's not on there, but I think we need to accept the resignation of Mr. John Edwards from that position. He's done a stellar job. John Edwards and stellar in the same sentence. I want you to know. Really, you have, John. You've done an excellent job. Appreciate it. It's gonna be hard to fill your shoes.
Stellar means good.
Your glasses were easy to take over, but your shoes will be another story.
I'll work with your new guy. I'll bring you up to speed, so.
Appreciate it. Appreciate all your
Or
efforts.
female, I don't like that, who you're hiring, but whoever you're hiring, they are all,
Thank you so much, John.
Do we have to have a motion to accept it, or can you just do it?
Well, you can, once you reappoint, it doesn't matter either way.
Okay. Then we won't do it.
I think you have to have a motion to accept his resignation before you appoint somebody else.
Okay, then we'll do it.
Is that a motion?
I'll make a motion to accept Mr. Edwards' resignation.
I'll support it with regret. I regret that you're gonna have no time. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you, Don.
welcome, thank you.
Okay. Appointment of zoning administrator and blight enforcement officer. There's a lot in that sentence. So I'm going to leave it up to the clerk to run through that appointment. See,
Run through it.
yep, how do you want to approach that? See.
Well, as far as I know, there's only one applicant now. I think Jay declined, so if there's only one applicant, then I guess he's the one.
Okay,
So I guess I'll make a motion to appoint Dave Guest.
I'll second that.
Is there reason the rest of his application isn't in with the board packet?
I think it is, it should be. If it isn't, I'll give you one.
I'm sure he's qualified, it's just kinda hard to make choices if we're not looking at all the info.
I thought, well, he actually filed 3 of them. And I don't have the first 2 in here, unfortunately. Because the last one, he said that he'd apply for both zoning and blight. But before that, he gave little resumes. But unfortunately, I didn't put them in here. But you're certainly welcome to see them, you know, anytime you want. but they're not there right now.
So you made a motion, there's no support.
There was support.
I
Was there?
support it.
Sorry, didn't hear it. Okay, motion and support to,
Do we do these kind of things with roll call, or,
you can if you want,
well, what do you want?
doesn't matter,
You're the man. Okay, well, just do it however you want.
however you want, you made the motion. Anybody can call for a roll call if you want.
Okay, I'm not calling for a roll call.
I am. Now that you mentioned it, don't mention it again.
Okay, what's your vote?
Yes.
Klein?
Yes.
Colmer, yes. Freeman?
Yes.
Okay.
Now we have a job, light officer, zoning administrator job description.
Yeah. Is it here someplace?
I see it, it's not designated in any way to replace anything, but I don't know that we had one to begin with, is that correct?
We didn't.
Okay.
No, Don and I worked a little bit on this one, so we'd have one in the future.
Okay, so, can we at least put a date on here? What is today's date, the 21st? So 10/21/19. So I will make a motion to adopt the officer zoning administrator job description as described in the board packet of 10/21/19. At least to give us something to start with.
No, second that.
A motion and a second to adopt it. Have you had a chance to read it?
No.
Well, take your time. Just give some guidelines.
You think 10 days in between tickets is enough?
What do you
10 days in between citations, you think that's enough? We can't give them something a little bit better?
Oh, we could change it.
I mean, if people are working or whatever like that, you know, they still
This is a
got,
proposal, you know.
right. So we're voting to adopt this as a proposal or as an
Yeah.
actual?
No as an actual, but it can be changed right now.
I don't think it's ready yet.
What do you think?
I definitely would've liked to been a part of this one a little bit more than that. I think 10 days isn't enough. I think giving them a 30-day, you know, window for something like that is enough.
Other than that, is
Yeah,
it
that's
okay?
my only argument. I think 10 days, turn around and hit them again, and 10 more days, and then turn around and hit them again. I think if you give them a 30-day window to clean up whatever their deficiency is, I think that's fair, but I don't agree with 10 days.
Well, I see a citation, but it doesn't say that citation would have to have any.
Number 5, any
penalties.
citation must issue at each 10-day interval if the deficiency is not corrected.
But you
So
think
for every
the rest
10
of it's
days.
okay, except
Yeah.
change that 10 to 30.
Yeah,
Did anybody make a motion to accept the shed?
Yes, I did, and
You did?
Yes.
Okay, will you accept that amendment?
30 days. S after day and 3 instead of the 1. And I'll accept that, yes.
Okay, has it been seconded? Yeah, by Freeman.
Does
Okay,
Freeman accept the changes?
Yes.
I just want something for them to work on.
yeah, this will be a good start. We can change it around if we need.
Was there a reason as to why it was 10 days? Did Donnie have a reason why he gave 10 days?
That's how it's been, but I always give them extra time. That was always the discretion of the zoning administrator or blight officer. If they're
they
working
look like
towards
they're
it, you could give them
attempting
10,
to,
give them 30. Some cases I gave 60 on certain things, so that's up, I mean, that was his call, but if you make it more correct that, I guess, after 30 days you give them a ticket. You can do it that way too, but that's how it's always been, the
Okay.
10 days, but you give them more time.
Okay,
But
It
30
wasn't cut in
days is
stone after 10 days
It
you
was
got a
just-
ticket, so.
if you seen they were working at it,
Yeah, I
then
mean,
you'd
that
extend
was,
it.
that was their call, but if you do that, then that's pretty much cut in stone. That
Right.
first complaint, 30 days later, if they haven't cleaned up, then you give them a citation, you can go that route. Whatever the board thinks proper on it.
Or maybe 10-day follow-ups were great. I mean, if somebody's ignoring you, you're
Well,
gonna
the
find out a lot
problem
faster.
with 30 days, you're gonna give them more time, you give them another 30 days after 30, or you expect to get a ticket that day, I mean, that's
Right,
how you wanna do it. I mean,
Right.
I suppose if you stay cut in stone and give 30 days, and you get a citation, it'd be okay, you could try that, you can always change it if it doesn't work for you.
Well, the way this was worded on number 5 though, another citation must issue each 10-day interval that the deficiency isn't corrected. So I mean, that's saying you're gonna give somebody a ticket every 10 days.
it
Yeah,
doesn't
but it
mean that
doesn't say
there's,
that anymore.
doesn't say that there would be a penalty for the citation, but it does help your case if you have to take it to court. That every 10 days you followed up and they didn't do anything. But that can be worked out, doesn't matter, it's set 30 now. But I thought, just because it's a citation doesn't mean you have to have a fine. It's a good record. But I'll accept it. All in favor of the 10/21/19 with the correction?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay. Motion passed. Now, the other thing, you had in the, see, I gotta tear this apart. You have a salary resolution of some sort, and we need to have a motion on that here.
Okay, I move that we pay the blight and zoning administrator $300 a month to start, plus mileage at the federal rate of up to $200 a month. That'd be for the winter, and then we can decide in the spring, you know, they're not very busy in the winter. But in the spring, we can decide if it's salary or not.
Is there a reason we're lowering the pay for that position?
Yeah, because Don got paid too much for the winters. Where'd he go?
Don?
He's outside.
See, they don't have any work in the winter, basically.
Well, I understand that. It's
And,
just,
and we should, and we should pay as much as Don got, starting April, May, something like that, and we can do that in this year. We can say, you know, until May 1st and then more, or whatever you wanna do. But, they don't have any work in the winter. So,
Blight falls off in the winter.
how
correct?
much do you wanna
It
pay them
does.
in the winter?
Zoning also?
Yes, both of them. And the reason for it, when you can't give out, if it has a stone, you give a ticket, then it stows, there's, 2 foot of snow on it, how can you tell the judge if you're gonna go through with it? He said, well, I cleaned that up, that's just, no. So it doesn't really work that way, you know, unless we got a good year where there's not a lot of snow, where you can see improvement or not, so. But yeah, you get a lot less in the summer, or in the winter.
That makes sense. Any more
Zoning,
discussion?
or blight, or zoning permits usually issued March through maybe October, November, and pretty much you're done for the rest of the year.
By the way, you've not given a zoning report, but I've seen you hand out a tremendous amount of zoning permits this year.
30, I give out 30 this year.
That's pretty
I
good.
usually, at the end of the year, I usually give you a tally. It's not the end of the year, but I'll
Right.
tally that up, and
That's great.
we've got, as of today, we got 30 that I approved.
That's great. Okay, thank you.
Well, we can pay more, or we can say that we'll pay more effective, what did he say, April
Well, we
15th
probably
or
get a
something?
motion in a
November.
second.
Okay,
March through November.
we do,
Yeah,
okay,
and it would be a roll call vote if
okay.
there's not a change to it.
Okay, roll call vote. Supervisor,
Yes.
clerk, yes. Treasurer,
Yes.
Trustee Klein.
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. And now we've got that out. Welcome. Good luck. I get the pin on the badge.
What?
I get the pin on the badge first
Oh,
time, just to
okay.
see how it fits. Now, you'll have to get sworn in, so might as well stick around after the meeting, we can get it done right away. Okay, millage proposals.
I move we approve and certify to the Briley Township Clerk and the Montmorency County Clerk the ballot language for the parks millage and the cemetery millage, and submit these to the electors of Briley Township for a vote at the presidential primary on March 10th.
Is there support? And motion and support? For a cemetery millage of 1/4 mil and a park millage. Also for 1/4 mil.
I don't have a cemetery one. Both of them for 10 years.
Yeah.
Yes.
I bother him this way.
Bob will know.
Well, we've got, I know we have some roofs and doors and there's quite a bit of repairs that need to be done. In actually both of those areas.
This is really a very small amount for anybody that is a resident, voter, and taxpayer in Briley Township, because for them it only amounts to about $4 to $5 per parcel. Now, of course, people that own a lot of property, they'll, but in terms of people that own one parcel, it only comes out to about $4 or $5 a parcel, and that's because the non-residents will also pay that, and so altogether they'll bring in like $8 to $8.50 a parcel. But since half of our taxpayers are non-residents, our residents will only have to pay that small, about half of it. So it's not like, and that's a year, not a month, that's a year. That's all it amounts to for a year. And I think I'll say some of those stuff up there too, but maybe you don't know. But our governor vetoed our swamp tax. And these two millages would bring in about $34,000 if people passed them. But the governor voted our swamp tax, which amounts to $32,000. So if we don't get that swamp tax back, these two millages would give us $2,000 more than this year's budget, and that's all. And we don't know, whether they're gonna work that out between the legislature and her or not, but as of right now, she's vetoed our swamp tax of $32,000. Actually, the swamp tax, the county gets about $147,000, and then the townships together get another $147,000, so when she vetoed that, she jerked basically $300,000 right out of Montmorency County government.
More than that, because you got the other townships also.
At
All
least.
you did is combine Briley's and the county's portions.
So that's a difficulty.
Yeah. The swamp tax really hurts areas that have lots of state land. It's payment in lieu of taxes for, that we won't be getting, and it's a possibility. As it stands right now, it's not in the state budget, so we are not getting it unless somebody changes something or changes their mind. So our budgets will be cut $35,000.
We do a roll call.
Yeah.
Okay, Klein,
Yes.
Wojcik,
Yes.
Clerk, yes. Treasurer,
Yes.
Okay, motion passed. Amend park ordinance. It's been Mr. Clerk. And I have to admit that, and appreciate Mr. Comber's efforts in writing these ordinances up and going through all of the motions to get all of this in writing for us. Quite a bit of work, and I do appreciate your efforts, even though I don't tell you enough.
thank you. It's not a lot of fun doing this stuff, but it's necessary because a lot of our ordinances are deficient or antiquated or something. So we have to work on them. Now, only real change in this ordinance from the one we had before, it relates, page 2, number 1, A through E, A through C. A through C, that's the only real change from the one we had before.
So things like having a community bonfire, with this new one, that's not gonna happen anymore?
Well, now, I was down there, and I think you and Jay did a fine job of,
But then you amend the park ordinance to say fires are never allowed in any Briley Township park.
yeah, and that's because we don't know if other people will be as conscientious as you and Jay were. So if we wanna, and I don't know if we can make an exception. In other words, if they go down.
I think the last park ordinance spelled it out pretty good what the requirements were. As far as having a fire in the park, I highlighted them and I brought them to you.
Yes, you did.
So why are we gonna turn around and take something that was actually beneficial to the community and no longer allow it?
Well, I don't know if it's beneficial to the community.
I think it was. Honestly, to tell you the truth,
If
you had
anybody
people
can
out
go
there.
down there and do it, I don't think that's beneficial to the community.
It's their park.
If we have responsible people, that's a different thing, like you and Jay were responsible, but how do we know the next people will put in the same safeguards that you did? And not only that, the old ordinance didn't say anything about the DNR fire permits. In other words, there definitely shouldn't be any fire in the park if fire danger is high, and it didn't have that in it. So there's various things about this to look at, and if we want to say that we can have fires under certain circumstances, I don't particularly object to that, but I don't want just anybody to be able to go down there and build a fire.
Shouldn't that be like up to the park attendant to decide?
What?
Yeah, you can say one thing.
I
Except
mean,
people.
shouldn't the park attendant decide whether it's safe or not safe, and if it's contained or not contained? No, instead of saying no to everybody,
The
let's
DNR decides that. That's the DNR's bailiwick to decide whether a fire is safe or unsafe.
On state land,
Hmm?
on their state land, yes.
No, everywhere. They've come by my house a few times and said to me,
If
your
it's
fire's too.
contained though, they can't, as long as it's in containment, they can't do anything about it.
Well, this contradicts itself multiple times. It says fires are never allowed in Briley Township Park, but then it says fires are only allowed when the DNR fire danger is moderate or low. This isn't ready for approval at all. In fact, if it was me, I think I'd put it out for a public hearing and let the people decide, because this doesn't work the way it's wrote.
Amen, brother.
You want to table it?
I'll make a motion, we have a public hearing for it.
Okay, I'll make a motion, we table it.
already a
You
motion.
got a second, one or the other?
There was one motion, is there,
I know.
this the only motion?
Hmm?
Is this the only motion?
Well, Rick's wasn't seconded.
No, the motion that we're currently under discussion for is adopting this the way it is. That doesn't work for me, and it shouldn't work for anybody.
And I made that motion, I think, so I'll amend it to say that we should table it. And then we'll have another look at it some other time. It's not like it's a rush.
A second to table it.
Hmm?
A second to
Okay.
table it.
Now that we're in discussion again, I'm gonna tell you, I think anytime you find a chance to actively put your name on something as a representative of Briley Township and you don't do it, there's an issue. Every one of you guys knew when this bonfire was gonna be, every one of you knew when the potluck was gonna be. Briley finally has an opportunity to put their name on something healthy and start spearheading cooperation in this community. And outside of myself, Ed Comer was the only one that came to the bonfire.
See, the problem isn't you. The problem is if we allow campfires in the park, how are we gonna police them?
We
And,
have a
you know,
park
you-
attendant.
Well, maybe, but maybe not too. Maybe it'll happen when Jay's laid off, for example, you know, because, in the winter or something.
Well, if they have a fire in the park in the wintertime, hopefully the snow is gonna put it out.
Yeah, they are, but I'm not willing to give carte blanche to anybody to have I'm willing to give you and Jay carte blanche to have a fire in the park. But not
You
this-
can't, yeah.
But I can't do that. It has to be all or none. So anyway, it's
I think we
tabled.
need a public hearing on this one.
So anyway, it's, if there's a motion and a second to table it. So, what do you wanna do?
There's a motion and a second to table it, we're discussing it right now.
Are we done?
I can accept tabling it just so we're not adopting it.
Okay.
I think it deserves discussion. Was it?
You wanna
I'm
discuss?
confused. I'm confused right now.
Okay. Why are you confused?
Well, maybe some of that will come clearer during further discussion on this. 'Cause I have to ask whether that was a township function or whether it was,
No, as an individual, I rented the open air pavilion and we hosted a bonfire in the park. It wasn't on behalf of any organization or anything like that, and it doesn't belong to any organization. It belongs to the people of the community. It was something for them to come down and feel good about that wasn't gonna get trashed and belittled or beaten to death over.
I'm all for tabling it and having further discussion.
Okay, just say, okay, ask for the vote then.
How to table it?
No, yeah, we didn't vote. Oh, just table it without a vote?
Just
Okay,
table it.
that's fine, that's fine, that's fine.
If you withdrew your motion, then it's just tabled. Unless you want to have a vote to,
Well, I think we all
between
agree.
now and the next meeting, we can discuss it and make amendments and bring it back up if you want. If you
Okay,
I strongly suggest that we have some communication on that, because I was really.
we'll deal with it. And Rick said he'd like to have input, so that's fine. He's got a copy, so if he wants to cut and paste or whatever, that's fine too.
I'd like to see what everybody else thinks. I really think we should have a public hearing about this. We did it with the collaborative agreement. I don't think this should be any different. And if everybody walks in and tells me I was wrong for having a bonfire, then we'll get rid of bonfires. But I don't think that'll happen. I think there's actually some room in that park for a lot more things that we could do that wouldn't necessarily cost anybody anything. And I think we're missing an opportunity to utilize it.
Okay, I move that we approve the park reservation one-day agreement.
Okay, I'll support it for the sake of discussion.
Why does the deposit have to be made by check? Is there a
Because
reason
we're
for
gonna
that?
give it back. See, we're not gonna keep it.
Right, but I mean, if somebody came in and wanted to do cash or debit, they can't?
Well, we don't wanna keep cash. And we can't put it on our computer. It doesn't work like that. We can't put the payment into our computer. We have to hold it if we're gonna give it back. And so, if we have cash, that's something we don't really wanna do. But I mean, we could do it, but the reason we put check in there is because that's easy to give back. But it doesn't have to be that way, of course.
If you notice, the fees have been reduced. And that kind of coincides with the other one also.
That was done at the request of the supervisor. And I think it's a good idea. We didn't
We were
reduce.
charging normal citizens less than people that were renting multiple things and all-day things, so I just tried to get it to where it was.
I don't have a problem with the fees, I don't understand, if somebody walks in with cash, we're gonna turn them away.
Well,
Years from now,
maybe we'll make it so
we'll
that
not
they
use cash a year
deposit,
from now.
well, we can make it so they deposit their cash with you, and then you can give it back.
No, I don't control the township fund.
Yeah, I know, and that's the problem. Brittany doesn't wanna have $50 or more hanging around.
That
her.
vault locks, you can't put it in an envelope with a person's name on it and secure it in the vault.
Sure, we probably could.
So why are we gonna continue to even talk about this? If somebody comes in with cash, if somebody came in with cash to pay their taxes, we're not gonna turn them away.
That's true.
Okay, so if they're gonna come in and they're gonna rent something in the park,
Legal
I don't think we
tender.
need to turn them away with cash.
Yep.
I'd rather have cash than a check.
Well, we're gonna give it back pretty much anyway. Well, I suppose there's one thing about that is some people don't have checking accounts, so that could be a difficulty. So, yeah, I mean, I don't care if it's changed the rule law.
So I would table this one also then until it's corrected.
No, it doesn't have to be tabled to be corrected. It
You can't
only-
adopt something that's not what you're actually adopting. If we adopt this the way it
We're
is,
not adopting something that isn't adopted. All we have to do is put in here that, take out the part about a check. That's all that has to happen. It says a $50 deposit for a key is required. The deposit will be returned when the key is,
right,
It must be by check, which?
yeah, where does it say the check part?
second paragraph,
Second
last
paragraph,
sentence.
second line. Just scratch must be by check which?
Yeah.
Check in cash.
Is that how it's gonna be filed? What they just wrote through and,
No, it'll be rewritten, but the wording will be correct. If we strike must be by check which, and also on the bottom,
By check or cash.
correct, you have check or cash circled one
Yeah,
down there.
that's all. Now we can,
Yep, it's all set. Actually, it's down there as far as cash. Great. We just need to strike those 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 words and a missing comma.
I would,
So if somebody wants to amend their motion to adopt this with that change, I don't mind the change.
okay, I'll amend my motion to say that with that change.
Did you support?
No, you didn't.
I support? Okay, I'll go with that, that's fine.
Are we doing a roll call or just a regular?
Yeah, we'll do a roll call because this is a fee schedule.
Okay, Klein,
no, I wanna see the completed document.
Wojcik,
Yes, and have,
Homer, yes, Freeman,
Yes.
You do see the whole agreement. You just
No, I wanna see the
scratched-
completed one,
Just
not the
scratched
amended
it out
one.
with the pencil, so you've seen the whole agreement, but if you wanna. So anyway, that one's
Okay, motion passed.
adjusted.
Motion
It's
passed, but
changed.
can we have a copy of the new one put in our boxes? So
Oh, sure.
we can review?
Sure.
Thank you. I have a copy of it. Thank you. Okay, that was the one-day agreement. Now a motion to pass a collaborative multi-day agreement. Clerk Coleman, the differences between a one-day and a multi-day. I think the multi-day was basically on the current, based on the current usages and the input we got from our meeting. Now, in the past, we've had other engagements there that were multi-day. We used to have a Bluegrass in the Park Festival. Basically, it's just about anything that anybody wants to do out there if it's a multi-day event. This should be able to take care of it. And
That's
it's
still
somewhat
open.
somewhat flexible.
This still isn't ready. You can't have sponsored in there, because then it looks like we're spending taxpayer money. We talked about the parking with Maisie building and things like that, and we had agreed in the public meeting, or public hearing, that if you went and got permission beforehand, it was gonna be fine, and this restricts it still.
We're at
Reservation agreement, third paragraph. It still restricts parking at the Maisie building, the boat launch, the dock, the playground and equipment and all of that stuff, when we said that we could simply get letters from
correct.
Hope Shores. And this is restricting it. Publicizing forms of advertising. You can't say sponsored in part by Briley residents, or you're gonna have people coming in here asking why their taxpayer money went to something. That was supposed to be thanking the people of Briley, if I remember right from the public hearing. You know, I don't think this one's ready to adopt yet. I think we need either another public hearing, or we need to go back to our notes and fix some of this stuff in
I'll
here.
move we table this.
Okay.
I'll second that.
We'll just table that one, too. Great.
I'm losing my stuff here, Mary.
I know, I have the thing too.
Oh, well. I'll figure it out.
Board of Review appointments.
Well, we have the same, our board of review last year was Gerald Williams, Tom Weber, and Craig Smith. And I'll move that we reappoint those same people.
Okay. Do we have a confirmed interest on that, or?
Only from Craig, I didn't ask the other two, but Tom does it every year. I don't know if anybody's asked Gerald Williams, but I haven't, I certainly, he seemed to like it. He, you know, when I talked to him before, he certainly didn't say, I don't wanna do this anymore.
Okay, I'll second your motion. A motion and a second to appoint Gerald Williams, Craig Smith, and Tom John Weaver to the Board of Review for 2020. Which is, has to be done annually now. And that's why we're doing it again.
Did somebody second that?
I did.
Okay.
I know I made the
Oh,
motion.
you made the motion, okay, you made the motion. So I'll second if nobody else did. I didn't hear anybody else. Did somebody come?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Okay, everybody will have to come in and get sworn in again, believe it or not. So, can the clerk please contact those individuals in some manner?
Absolutely.
Have them get sworn in again. Okay, appointment to airport board.
We have one airport appointment expiring at the end of this year, and that's Brittany Brown. So I move we appoint her to a new term.
I'll second that.
A motion and a second to reappoint Miss Brittany Brown
Yep.
to the airport board. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor?
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion passed. Board reports.
Am I first?
Yes.
Zoning and planning, we're still working on repaginating parts of the master plan. Hopefully, we're gonna start getting a little more ambitious as far as the CIP plan and see if we can't get some of the things identified from the last meeting as far as, infrastructure stuff, quoted and start getting it ready for repair or replacement, whatever the case may be. Outside of that, it's just a lot of, definitions and working on making sure we got the best master plan moving forward.
Great, thank you, Rick. I don't have anything to report this month. Clerk Comber,
Nothing's going on exciting at the fire department.
did you want?
Although I did, you mentioned to me that you thought that there were grants for the fire department to drill a well. And I told Dave Utt that, and he said he'd get in touch with you about it. I don't know if he has or not.
Yes, not.
Okay, I'll remind him at the next meeting, because if they can get it with no cost, I think they should do it.
That would save us a ton of money finding a spot to drill a
Yeah,
secondary well.
because then we'd have a backup well, which would be an absolutely wonderful thing.
Did you want to report anything on your efforts to get a surface water contamination map? Because it was in the agenda and.
So far, I have 10 phone calls into the state of Michigan asking if they will give us a new contamination map for our water system. And so far, from what they're telling me, I haven't reached the right person yet. And I think this is important because we haven't had one for 30 years. And pollution definitely can move, and if it has moved, I'd sure like to know it. And if it hasn't moved, I'd sure like to know that too. And I hope it hasn't moved, but I think it's about time they gave us a new map, and that's the DEQ's job, and so I'm gonna stay on them as long as I can to get them to do that.
Also, Ed found within our initial water ordinance, correct, that it was stated in there that there's an attached map with directly linking to that, and it should be updated. We shouldn't link to a 30-year-old map.
And that 30-year-old map has gone someplace. It's not here anymore. And Don, is Don still here?
No.
Oh, well, anyway, he told me that he had seen one. He said he came on in '86, and he had seen one not too long after that, and he never heard or seen anything about it since.
It was the original contamination within the groundwater when we got the original wellhead was the map that they were referring to. But since then, we've just been pumping water and they have not updated their mapping.
So
Even though they are monitoring everything, I do know that, but we should have a map that shows where we're at.
They're not monitoring very well outside of the water system. And that's where the danger lies, is outside of the water system, because if it's migrated to, let's say, the sheriff's department, hypothetically, then, you know, they're not monitoring the sheriff's department. So we really need a map to see if this stuff is moved people in the water system are in no danger, because that's, you know, that's checked all the time and it always passes, so that's not a problem, but the people outside the water system might be getting junky water and we don't know, because they haven't given us a map. But I'll keep at it, maybe 10 more phone calls, I'll find somebody.
Appreciate it.
Oh, that's John Smith. Oh, no, that's Mary Jones. Oh, no, that's, I don't know, it goes with that.
Is there anything you have, Karen?
The firefighter's assistant grant has been awarded to Township in the amount of $306,000 to be used for the power loads and the cots for the ambulances to bring them current. 207 was in need of a transmission, but due to the high mileage, the board voted to scrap 207, so we're gonna scrap that ambulance altogether. Al Lempool has been appointed to the supervisor's position, and the generator was in need of a new radiator at a cost of $1,392, so they're getting a hold of Hobson's Electric to take care of that.
Thank you. Okay, we're up to public comments. I believe in order, first with Susan Reed.
Your payables, you talked about paying for the kayak launch. Is that funds should be reimbursed from the grant, correct? Okay, you didn't say that, so I just want everyone to know that that should be refunded to us.
Half of it.
I think it's wrong to leave the date of the park closing up to the guys. If it would have been left up to the guys this year, it would have been October 15th. We have a lot of usage in the park, depending on weather. Frost is not gonna freeze the pipe that's in the ground. I think it's crazy. And when you talked about giving citations every 10 days or 30 days, and Mr. Edwards says, sometimes he does this and sometimes he does that. No, that's favoritism. Could be considered favoritism. I'm not saying it is. It could be considered favoritism. There should be a true, yes, this many days or this many days, and follow the line. Otherwise, you know, this is my buddy. I'm going to let him have 30 more days. I think you'd better rethink about that one. All these ordinances that you wrote up, it sounds like just Ed was writing them. And that's probably the way you should start. But you can't get together off-site or off this public meeting and talk about it and decide what to do. You need to be right here, talking about it amongst yourselves while we're listening, and make it up while you're here. Not behind the scenes with us not listening. You talked about the water wells and the testing of the water. As you almost all of you know, I own the Point, and they were testing the water for many years down there in their sample wells, quite a few of them. Last year, the year before, they pulled all them sample wells. They are not testing the groundwater anymore. Just so you know, I don't know if it was everywhere, but they did my side, Mary Dee's side, they pulled all them wells up.
All
And
down.
because of the two, I had a BEA, baseline environmental study done before I bought the
Do they have a name for those wells?
sample wells, test wells, I guess.
That's some wells for me to talk to the DEQ about.
So I had a baseline environmental study done before I purchased the property, so I couldn't be held responsible for the previous contamination. It shows in this BEA that because of the two rivers, it goes down to the Point, it all flows east. And it goes down to the Point and kind of swirls around down there. You know, we got contaminations from all the way from the county garage, old Joey's, BP, yeah, everywhere. It's all going that way. But for some reason they quit monitoring those wells. I don't know why.
I'll definitely
You might
ask
wanna
him
look
about
into
that if I ever find the right
Um,
person.
You appointed someone to the airport board, or reappointed. I suggest in those minutes, you write the date and the ending date for their appointment, so there's no more further questions on when someone's appointment expires like there has been in the past. And I would like to know how a citizen can look over what zoning permits have been approved. I'll stop in another time and ask you that question, because as you already told me before, this is public comment, not answers. Yeah, there's a lot of things that could have been done in the park, such as my ice skating that I've always wanted to do and did for several years, and you took it away. And I still am very upset about that. It's our park, it was our ice skates, you had no right to do what you did.
That's right.
I think that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Sue. Mr. Lamore?
All I know is I didn't do it.
Okay, just so the board knows, I agree with everything she said. She was right on the money with all of it. I was looking at item G, I'm glad you tabled item G. Motion to pass collaborative multi-day agreement. The board in the last meeting agreed to bring that back before the public, before they even had another discussion about passing this, and that hasn't happened. And so Rick caught a couple of things, but there's more than that. You set the fees and nobody even knew how you did that or why you did it. And there's other stuff in the document that's not accurate either. So I think that before you even go back and rewrite, there should be another meeting in the public to let the public have an opportunity to readdress your new doctrine that you want to put in here. So tabling is a good thing, but you need a second meeting. That's what you promised the public, and we haven't seen it. Didn't happen. Also, item H, I'm glad you brought that up, Ed. Contaminated areas. I wish you'd have put the word map in there, that would have been a little more.
I couldn't hear what he said.
He said he wished he would have put contamination map instead of contaminated areas.
Oh,
Yeah, because everybody thinks there's a contamination in the township now, then maybe there is, maybe there isn't, but it's alluded to here in the agenda, which isn't good. Also, the other thing, that when you were going through your millage proposals, one of the things you wanted on the documents then to be put onto the ballot was the marijuana issues. Those haven't even been addressed again here tonight. I think if you're going to do something with it, it's time to do it. Don't play with it. This is something that, again, a lot of people have a
We
need
did
for.
address that.
Pardon?
You did address that.
Yes, you did. I didn't hear you address it. It's not in anything here.
When, today? No.
Right, we stated that we could not do it. It had to be a public initiated. That's
Yeah,
it.
in
Initiated
September
what?
they said that.
Yeah.
Pardon?
In September they did say that. But I
Well-
think they're wrong on the public initiative.
Well, I do too. And I thought you were going to get a list of people signed, petition signed.
We can't, it has to be public.
Okay, when were you going to tell the
But
public
the
that?
public
We did
needed
in
the
September.
verbiage from you guys, your ordinance, in order to do that. You
Exactly.
haven't presented that verbiage yet in order for the public to be able to address it.
Exactly. You can't go out and get a petition without legal language. You know that.
Yep.
And it would have been thrown out as soon as it was taken in. So when are you going to come up with this
I didn't hear what he
information so it
said.
can be
He's talking
addressed?
too low for my bad
Yeah,
hearing.
can you speak up, so, I'm sorry.
At the last meeting, when it was decided that it had to be a,
Referendum.
public person going and saying, I want this on the vote, part of what it has to contain is the Briley Township ordinance regarding the marijuana, use and building, sale, what your ordinance is. You guys didn't have that. You have to have that and have it prepared in order for one of us citizens to be able to take it there and ask for a vote.
That's not what MTA told us. what they told us was that the public would have to write the ordinance.
Oh, no
The
way.
Hey,
public,
I'm gonna finish talking now. Do
And-
you wanna be removed, or do you wanna wait until I finish?
Finish.
Thanks.
Public comment should be back and forth.
Yeah, but
That's
she
abuse.
isn't part of the public comment. She didn't fill out a form.
I was asked
So
by
she
the
can either be quiet
superintendent.
or she can leave.
I was
That's her
asked by the
choice. Deputy, please
superintendent.
remove that lady.
You have
Why
to give
are
me
you
you have to
attacking
give me
her?
a warning.
Yeah, well, you already got a warning in the beginning. He
No, I
told
did
you-
not.
He told me he was gonna force it, and
Okay.
not only that, the thing doesn't say anything about warnings.
In
Deputy, please remove that lady.
Roll him, would you, Bruno?
In September, we definitely laid out that it had to be a public initiated. I wish you would relook at the, and we offered to use the attorneys to help write one for somebody.
But Bruno, as you pointed out, it has to be the Briley Township ordinance.
On the
And
ballot.
citizens cannot write an ordinance for the township.
That's right.
They can
That's
with
what we
through
need from
referendum.
you.
They can through referendum.
No, they
We already have an
can't.
ordinance.
MTA said we couldn't do it. We would have done it in a heartbeat. I called up our attorney and asked him to do it. He says, I can't do it. The public has to do it. They have to get their own attorney, and they have to do it.
That is it.
I went through this with MTA, I went
referendum
through this
and
with
an
our own
ordinance are
attorney, I
two
went through it
different
different
things.
times, and they all said the same thing. The public has to get
Okay.
their own ordinance, and they have to do it. We cannot spend any township money on doing this. That's what they all told us.
Not to dispute what you're saying.
Well, you
We're-
dispute it all you want, but that's what they told me. Now,
Not
maybe
to
they
dis-
told me wrong. I'm not saying they didn't
Well,
tell me
I'm gonna
right.
ask you a question.
Yeah, okay.
Did you put this in writing to the MTA?
No, and I,
Did they put an answer back in writing to you?
no.
Then you don't have anything to say.
Yeah, I have something to say.
No,
That's
you
what they
don't.
told me, and that's what
No.
our attorney told me.
I don't trust you, and many other people don't trust you. I wanna see it in writing, what
Well,
question
then
was
I'll get
asked,
it in writing
and
if-
what
if
reply
my
you
board-
got.
If my board votes to get a written thing from our attorney, then I'll get it in writing. I mean, I didn't wanna charge the township for it.
It's not the attorney.
Yes, it is.
No, it's
You
not.
said
If you have no, if you
He
have,
said we can't do it, and he's the township attorney.
The township attorney also.
what's that?
I said, we did inquire through the township attorney
And what
also,
did you write to him?
whether or not we could have an ordinance.
Where's the answer in writing?
his writing, yeah, answer.
I don't
Where's the
think
letter?
that- I don't
You don't have one, so you just, it's hearsay. It's all hearsay, guys.
I'm pretty sure.
An
You
interpretation.
either have it in writing or you don't. And if you don't, you better check it out because your facts aren't correct.
Can you tell us what the facts are, Phil?
No, I'm not an attorney, but you should be. No, the reason I
We've
say
done-
that is
we've
because
done
you're the
due
one up there,
diligence.
you're up there pontificating what we're supposed to know and what we're supposed to write, and you don't even know the answers. How can you even do that?
We know the answers.
No, you don't. You
Yes,
don't have
we
it in
do. We
writing, and
can't
we don't
do
know
it.
what you asked,
That's the
Ed.
answer. We cannot
It's not
do
the
it.
answer
But
Hey,
you're
until,
listen, I want this to come to a vote. I want that very badly.
well, then do it.
We voted to put it on the ballot. And I
Uh-huh.
want it to be on the ballot for medical marijuana and recreational marijuana both.
But you
But our
didn't.
attorney said we can't do it. He said, I can't write that ordinance for you because you can't spend township money. And he said the citizens have to get their own attorney and write the ordinance, and they have to get the signatures, and then it can go on the ballot. Now, you can like that or not like it, but that's the truth.
Oh,
Who writes the park
Wow, that's a
ordinance?
whole different.
that's a lot different than what we heard last
It's
time.
an ordinance.
Yeah, bring him here, let him tell us.
Bring your attorney here, and he can
Yeah,
tell us,
like
that way we know
It was.
it's a fact.
You wanna pay that?
Yes,
He
He's your
comes from Bel-
attorney.
he comes
We
from
already
Bel Air.
do.
yes,
He's your
that's
attorney.
money well
You're still
spent.
an attorney, but you know how much that'll cost?
That's money well spent.
To come here and talk to us is gonna cost us a bundle?
Well, let me put it to you this way. You personally,
We've already
hey,
paid
our
for
money.
it.
you personally made me pay $1,200 to an attorney for a bunch of crap you brought up in a lawsuit. So you think about that, and then you start talking to these people.
You're good at
If
throwing
you
that
can
out,
do it to
aren't
me, you can sure do it for us.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes you have really good ideas, Phil. And I appreciated, for example, when you wrote all this stuff about the,
Let's change the subject.
yeah, you know, the agreement, the multi-day agreement. And I read that stuff all very carefully, and I think you had some good ideas in there. But other times, you give us the blowhard treatment.
So
And
do
that's
you.
what you're doing right now.
And
No,
so
I
do
don't
you.
think
Because I
so.
told you what the law
Jeff
is,
does
and
not
if you don't believe it,
say-
you go spend $100 and ask some other attorney.
We
Because
did-
you're
We
not gonna
wanna
believe
grab
it, no matter
We
what I
wanna
tell
grab
you.
it.
I want the truth, Ed, and I can't get
Well,
it if I
that's the
don't see it
truth.
in writing.
That's the truth.
Nobody can.
That's the truth.
Ed, don't you already have an ordinance on record for marijuana?
What?
Don't you already have an ordinance on record for marijuana?
We had,
It does, it
We have
declines
one.
everything.
we had a proposed one, yes.
No, we have an
No, we
ordinance
have-
about
there was an
marijuana.
I
adopted
wrote
one.
it. And therefore, I'm not
theirs
gonna
was
tell
wrong
you
with it,
that
he
it's
wrote it.
sufficient. Because I already got burned once by him telling me,
There's an ordinance on record and it wasn't done by the people, it was done by the township.
oh, you mean the one that said that
That
they couldn't
restricts
have
any sales.
recreational?
Yeah.
That said they couldn't have recreational, you mean that one?
Yeah,
Yeah, well, yeah,
the
they want an
the
ordinance that
people of
says
the
you can't have
township didn't go to an
recreational
attorney
marijuana?
for that one.
I don't know who wrote it.
Do you want, do they want an ordinance that says you can't have recreational
Who
marijuana?
wrote that?
Who wrote
We have that, and we have one for medical marijuana.
Who
too.
wrote
But
it?
those
Wrote
aren't-
it,
But
Ed.
those aren't ones that you use for a.
Do we have a copy of that, sir?
Hmm?
Can we have a copy of that?
Oh, I made tomorrow when
Of course you can, just file a FOIA.
You can come
Just
and
go
look
on,
at it.
it's on the website, under,
It's
Well, last thing I have to say tonight is I wanna commend Mary for the cash disbursements and putting the credit card on there as to who it was and the amount. I appreciate that. And now everybody can see where that money is spent. Thank you.
I move we adjourn.
I wanna say something
have
about
something
bringing
to
in the
say.
credit card machine that has been implemented. The use of the credit card machine for people to pay their taxes and to pay their water bills, and they've used it to pay cemetery, it's been a godsend. And this is something that should have been taking place a long time ago, and it's worked really well.
I'm not gonna bring up those things.
Okay, is there support to, adjourn?
Oh, no, they bring it
You still have other public comment?
I had to ask
We have another public comment.
Apparently so.
I thought that was
They
to
didn't
speak
second
for
this,
public
so-
comments.
Do they need a second?
There's a sign-in sheet, but then there is a public comment
Well, thanks for.
resolution.
So we
Yeah,
can't make our
it's
public
all over the
comments
wall.
today? Mine's very short. Ed Comer resigned.
Oh, thanks.
Please do.
Ed Coleman resigned. Very incompetent.
And abusive.
We pay you, you're fired.
I appreciate your vote of confidence.
You don't have it, because you are incompetent.
Not about confidence. It's about my two girls.
Thank you all for coming.
Okay.
How many